Welcome to our weekly coaches interview with Coach Damon Floyd of the Bears. Brought to you as always by Cleveland Collision Center at 2901 Water Level Highway. Visit them today for all your automotive repair needs. Check them out online at clevelandcollisioncenter.com. Being joined by Coach Floyd here. Coach, last Friday night we had some good things that really made you stand up and take notice. It had the crowd really into it, and we had some things that didn't go our way. Farragut is a very good football team, ranked number 7 in the polls this week. The Bears are still in there at number 10. So there's a lot of things that they put us in some uncomfortable situations, or we sort of put ourselves in some uncomfortable situations that you're just going to have to overcome.
I think that's the thing is we hurt ourselves. You know, anytime you have 15 penalties, that's hard to overcome. Mm-hmm. Anytime you turn the ball over 4 times, that's hard to overcome. To miss as many tackles as we did, that's hard to overcome. And you combine all those things, and we still had a chance to win. So there's positives that's going to come out of this game. But then obviously the negative is we lost, and we feel like we had a lot to do with that ourselves. You know, the first half was really good. Special teams, offense, defense. I thought we played really well. Second half, we were not the same team, and it's like I told our coaching staff in the locker room after the game, that's on us. Just to be quite honest, we did not look very well coached. We did not look prepared in the second half, and it wasn't a game of adjustments. They didn't adjust. We didn't adjust. We didn't play as well. And there was some situations that I felt like cost us the game. And we have a saying hanging in our assistant coach's office, you're either coaching or allowing it to happen. And we didn't get the job done. So, you know, I'll take the blame for that one, and our coaching staff's going to take the blame, and we're going to get better from it. But you hate to come out and lose that first game of the season.
Well, I guess if you have to lose one, you want to lose it early so you can build from your mistakes and learn from that and just start the ball rolling. Obviously, we're going to talk about walkabout in here in a moment, which is our next upcoming game. If you were assigning a letter grade to your offense, let's say, what kind of letter grade would you throw out there?
First half, probably an A.
Okay.
Second half, you know, we've got to play better team ball. And what I mean by that is, and I don't mean players being selfish, I thought our effort on all phases of the game were great. I thought our kids gave great effort. When we watched the film, we had a couple of loafs. So we'll grade them each particular play, and if they don't give maximum effort, then they get a loaf and they pay for it in practice. But I felt like we gave effort, we just didn't execute fully. And for us to play team ball is when we're up, we feel like our offense has got to get a couple first downs to give our defense a break. We didn't get first downs, therefore our defense was on the field probably a little too much. But in return, our defense has to go 3 and out and get our offense back the ball so they can get in the groove. Special teams-wise, they pinned us inside the 5. And I think we talked about this before we played them, where they've done this in the past. Mm-hmm. They've got a really good punter, and I think there was 2 or 3 times where we're coming out of our end zone. Field position hurt us a couple times. So, you know, we've got to find ways. We only got 1 ball, but we got to find ways to get our playmakers the ball more. You know, they were doubling Trey a lot, so we've got to be a little bit more creative in getting him the ball so he can do some explosive things for us. So, those are things we got to work on, and hopefully we fix, you know, this week.
Well, you mentioned something there we've not talked about before. Your coaches, and you go back and you grade the players on each play, don't you? Depending on if they're a lineman, are they holding the block, are they blocking the guy where they're supposed to be? Are they holding that block long enough? I guess your running backs, they hitting the right hole stuff. Do you grade every position on the team? Is that how you do that?
Yes, every position will be graded, every play, and it's graded on effort. It's graded on assignments, so if you miss an assignment, you'll pay for that. And then, you know, just are you winning?
Yeah.
And those 3 things is what we grade on, and you know, it's like I tell our kids, we've had a lot of teams in the past, pretty much every team in the past, that just because you're a starter the first game, that doesn't mean you're going to be a starter the second game or throughout the season. We've had kids that'll take somebody's position, you know, on the depth chart because they're not doing those 3 things that we ask.
Okay.
I really don't feel like effort was a problem. Missed assignments was obviously a problem, but it was mental breakdowns that in situations of the game that that was frustrating. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously we're in heavy package on offense 3 times and we never gained a yard. There's no secret running the football, and you know when they did it, they would gain yards. So everybody does it in every level of football. We're going to run the football in 3rd and short, and we got to be able to pick that up. On the goal line, on the 1-yard line, we had a miscommunication where, you know, we spiked the ball. And we end up getting a field goal, but we should have had 7. You know, the lateral pass that hits the ground and then it's a fumble and they pick it up and get the ball on the 1-yard line. So those are things that are frustrating as a coach because those are things that we can control.
Right.
And we didn't control them. So, you know, I think as long as we stick together, we talk about adversity all the time. We didn't stick together as a team. Not that people were griping at each other. We just got to overcome those obstacles and be more consistent. And that was one of the things I was worried about coming into the game, is consistency.
Well, looking at our special teams, Braden Clark punting for the first time in lieu of Dylan Stanford punting for almost 4 years, I suppose. He didn't have a long depth, but he had good height, so he could get down and cover that for the most part. We did miss one extra point, and people sometimes don't realize this. The kicker gets the blame, but there's 3 guys: the snapper, the holder, and the kicker. So anyway, got to get that worked out, and that comes with some more practice and all that. We had a lot of penalties. Seems like we had a lot on illegal procedure. There again, those are things that you can work out, and that's possibly due to first game jitters. And somebody, you probably have told me this, and other coaches, that your biggest improvement usually comes between the first and second game. Is that your belief, or is that
Sure
better be?
In the past, that we've seen that over the years,
Yeah.
and that is an old coaching cliche. So
Yeah.
we're hoping that holds true, and we improve a lot in the second game. I do want to make sure mention Isaac Vaughn.
Yes.
He's a senior. He's a soccer player for us, and we came out. His older brother Ethan played last year and was a really good player for us. And we begged Isaac to come out because we needed help in kicking. And he did miss the first extra point. It was not all his fault. Like you said, there's 3 components of that that are very important. So it's not any one person's fault. We just got to make sure as a team we get that corrected. But Isaac really, I thought he kicked well. He made a field goal. He did make some extra points. So he's going to continue to get more comfortable and better too. So he'll be a big part of our success this year.
Well, kicking is a third of the game, as they say, offense, defense,
Yes.
and special teams, involved in that. Defensively for us, we had some missed tackles that their running back, Matt White, just seemed to escape and get outside on us way too much. And we missed some tackles we should have got. How do you overcome that? Is that the technique that you're trying to improve on, or is that sloppy tackling? Or
I think it's a combination of things. So we focus on tackling a lot in practice. One of the things that I think most coaches do nowadays is you don't really tackle live in practice, so we do a lot of drill work.
Okay.
So I do think our tackling will improve, and it's improved since our first fall scrimmage, the 5-way against Baylor and those guys. And the first half I thought we played great. We did give up a drive, but they're going to make some plays too. And the good thing is we were lined up correctly. We're in position. We're in in some scrimmages before we weren't necessarily in those right spots and positions. Now we just got to find a way to get them on the ground. And I think our guys will get better week after week after week. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing it on Friday night. Look, the bottom line is we got 8 guys on defense that have not played on Friday nights.
Right. It is a young defense.
You can call it an excuse or whatever you want, but it's real.
Yeah.
And I like to be
It's just a fact.
in reality, and those guys are going to get better. It's not an effort thing. It's not a strength thing. It's not a tenacity thing. We're going to get better. And I think if you ask our defense, they know that's the focus, and I expect a big improvement this week.
Well, you had Davion Horton pick off 2 passes. I mean,
Yep.
boy, he had those, and he took off and set us up some prime field position there.
The great thing about Davion, and I think he would tell you, he read his scout report. They had some tendencies that we really felt like to the single wide receiver side that they would give us.
Yeah.
And Davion did a great job of executing it, and they threw it twice, and he picked it twice. So I was real happy for him, and it also proved the point, like, look, guys, if you study and you look at your scouting report, then good things can happen. And, Davion's a guy that we expect to step up this year. He's a senior that started last year, had some injuries, didn't start all the games, but he's a guy we feel like at corner can be very valuable and kind of take one side of the field away, a lot like Jeffrey Brewer did his career here at Bradley.
Well, you had some great things on offense. Obviously, the speed we've had is maybe the best we've had since you've been the coach there.
Yes.
with Javen at quarterback and Cannon Hall and those guys there. Javon had the 97-yard record-setting kickoff return there. So there's a lot of great things, I thought, and boy, explosive speed that we've not seen in a long time. But I think as we move forward, both sides will improve, and all 3 phases of the game will improve. Let's take a break right now. We'll be back here on behalf of Cleveland Collision Center with Coach Damon Floyd talking about upcoming game now with Walkabout this Friday night. Welcome back to our weekly coaches show with Coach Damon Floyd, brought to you by Cleveland Collision Center, 2901 Waterloo Highway. I'm having trouble speaking today. Back with Coach Floyd there. New head coach at Walker Valley, Drew Akins, never been a head coach. Outstanding quarterback for his dad down at Boyd Buchanan back in the heydays, early 2000s, I guess. Very young guy, very personal kind of guy. And they come off a win up there that they had to have at Carnes, I suppose, because they had lost 13, I believe, in a row. Had an 0-10 season last year. And they're going to be sky high. Here come the Bears. We're going to be sky high Friday night. They're looking to pull the big upset and knock us off. How do you as a coach, prepare your team to go into that kind of environment?
And just like we do any other week, I don't have to let our kids know that it's Walker Valley week, or if we play Cleveland or McMinn or any other rival we play, it's a big week. The intensity should go up. Walker Valley is undefeated. We're not. They've won. We didn't. So our kids, we need to get that W. And it's a rivalry game, man. This is what you play for. This is why This is why I coach in games like this, is because this is exciting. And I think it'll be very intense. I think our kids will be ready to play.
Great crowd.
It's really not about Walker Valley. I know this is coaching cliche too, but it is true. We need to control what we can control, and we need to focus on Bradley. And obviously, we'll scout Walker Valley just like they'll scout us, and try to play to some tendencies that they may have. But it's about us lining up and executing, and it all boils down to blocking and tackling. And if we don't do those things, then we will not be successful, and they will. So.
It's a pretty simple game.
It is. Right? In the end of it, it is. You draw up all this stuff, and in the end, you got to block, you got to tackle, you got to throw, you got to catch, and it's about execution. So I would say the team that turns it over the least, makes the less mistakes, they'll probably be the team that wins the game.
Well, we seem to have a good game as far as physically. I think we had cramps with Javen there in the first half, and he's the only one I remember coming off the field.
Cannon Hall missed the fourth quarter. Yeah. Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about him. With a new coach up there, obviously, you don't really know what his tendencies are. So all you can look at is last week's game. So you're going to have to figure this out on the fly sometimes, I suppose. And what kind of offense and defense you expect to see out of him?
Offensively, they're a spread. We have coached against teams that he's been on before, even though he wasn't the head coach. So tendency-wise, I talk about defensively, we set up and watch film and try to develop a game plan based on tendencies. Like you just said, I don't have a lot of tendencies on him, so we will go off last week's game, and then we did trade a scrimmage. We decided to trade a scrimmage with him, so I do have a little bit, basically 2 games, but I'm sure they're going to have some wrinkles up their sleeve that they've got saved for us, as we will for them. And but they're a spread team. They will go some 2-back, and they're going to try to run the football. Defensively for them, they're a 3-3 stack, cover 3, shell. They will go some man. They'll bring some pressure. Obviously, with 3 linebackers, they're going to bring them from all different ways, and probably stuff we haven't seen on film. So we just need to be prepared and make sure that our eyes are open and we're lined up correctly on defensively, and offensively we know who we're responsible for blocking assignment-wise. And once again, it's about executing no matter what offense or defense you face. Who's going to execute?
How do we match up with them size-wise?
I feel like we match up with anybody size-wise this year, honestly. Our offensive line is 4 seniors, and we probably average about 260, 265. Defensive line-wise, we're bigger than we've been in a long time. So, with CJ and Tucker Carpenter, those guys are big. Our nose isn't very big. Our linebackers aren't very big, but we feel like we have really good speed to make up for some of that. So I feel like size-wise, week in, week out, there may be somebody bigger than us, but I don't think it's going to be a factor.
Right. Trey Curry obviously is going to draw a lot of double coverage.
Yes.
His reputation's out there. How do you and your staff attack that? That should open up the opportunity for other guys. Your quarterback's got to be cognizant of what's going on, I guess. He's the main one to read it and see, hey, they've got him double teams, let's find somebody else or whatever. Is that how you would try to attack that kind of defense against him?
Yes. Obviously, everybody's going to have their different philosophies, so we've got to be sure not to pressure our quarterback to try to stress it to get it to Trey. We've got to do a better job of getting it to Trey. He only touched it one time. He had 7 targets. So the good thing nowadays is you have huddle sidelines. So, they're going to line up, and then as soon as offense comes off the field, we're watching TV of what just happened and looking at their coverages and stuff. I thought Farragut did a really good job of not letting Trey get vertical, and obviously with his talent, we've got to win some vertical matchups there, but it does open up some other things, and that's it's a part of us learning together. It is Javen's first game here as a quarterback, so I think we'll continue to get better, and then according to the way people play us, we're going to have to be a little bit creative, and you may see some of that creativity this week.
Well, speaking of huddle sideline, now that's something that came into vogue, I guess, just recently. So you can go to the sideline once the series is over. Right then, your defensive coach can go look and say, hey, here's what their offense is doing.
Yep.
Vice versa, your offense can go and say, here's what the defense is showing us. How big a help is that to you? I think that'd be a great help.
Well, it does, but the other team's doing it too.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that's the big thing. One of the big reasons a lot of people 2 platoon now. So now when our defense comes off the field, other than Javon, we're over there watching and correcting mistakes where your offense can be on the field and vice versa. So
Show them right then. can't you?
Yes, yes, you can correct a lot of mistakes real quickly. But once again, like we talked about earlier, are you executing? Are you
Yep.
blocking?
Yep.
Are you tackling?
Comes
So in
down
the
to all
end,
that, doesn't
yeah,
it?
you know, you can show them on film if they miss a tackle, but they got to fix it on the field. So, but obviously it helps as a coaching staff.
Well, we're going to wrap it up for now. We encourage the Bear Nation to be there in full force Friday night at Walker Valley, our first road game of the year. It's a non-region game. It's an important game, I guess, for bragging rights in this area. Join us on The Buzz 101.3 Friday night at 6 o'clock for a pregame show. You'll hear the coach interview. You'll hear our upcoming interview with Tucker Steele and our award-winning football panel. That's at 6 o'clock with kickoff at 7:30 from Walker Valley Friday night for Bear football. With that, we'll sign off saying God bless and go Bears.